Hey everybody, Hated Hayes here. I've got some real information for you. This vape epidemic, it's not the THC that's doing it or the flavors. Neither one are hurting you. What's hurting you is the actual oil. The oils they'll basically sit on your lungs and on the walls of your bronchia, your alveoli, the whole nine. Just like if you smoke a cigarette inside of one room over and over again, it starts to stick to the walls in that room, and you start to smell it. It grows bacteria, smells worse and worse over time. That's what's happening in your lungs. That oil is collecting bacteria that's not going back out with the exhale, and then that bacteria is basically sitting there and growing in your lungs, in your alveoli, in your bronchial tubes, even the area outside of the lungs, the cavity itself. Eventually, what happens is it will go to your heart and other organs, and it does that through the lungs, that bacteria. And then it will hit you like a brick. It's like you have the flu while you have a cold, while you have pneumonia, and possible uh, uh, cardiac arrest all at the same time. How do I know this? I'll tell you how I know. Because in 2014, the month of March, there was an individual blowing that vape stuff on me inside of a Starbucks. The Starbucks was managed by Mary Lewis, and she refused to have him stop. He did this for days and days. Even when myself and my acquaintances went outside, he would follow us out there blowing it on us. He even posted something at one time with this big, huge vape and says, "Wait a Starbucks gets a load of me now, or sees me now," or something like that. This manager, Mary Lewis, who now works at the 24-hour drive-through location in Quince Orchard, allowed this person to do this, even though their policy was not to have any vape go on within their Starbucks or 20 feet outside the door. What happened is I ended up sick. I was so bad off that I called a friend of mine. Well, she and her husband drove up from Frederick, Maryland to Montgomery County, Maryland, Rockville, where I was at. And there was the guy still vaping. They're like, "You need to go to the hospital." So they snatched me and took me to Suburban Hospital, where I went in there for treatment. And I stayed there for a day or two, or however long it was, while they fought this stuff in me with antibiotics intravenously, like 24/7. That's how I survived it. Between that and the fact that I had quit smoking 16 years, or at that time 12 years prior, was probably my saving grace. So I wasn't a vapor, and this was done through secondhand vape. So imagine what it's doing to the people who are vaping and they don't even know it. If anything, the THC that would be in any of them would help to actually loosen the crap off of your lungs. How do I know this? Because when I quit 16 years ago, it was THC that I used when I got the jitters, nick fits, whatever you call it. I would take a couple of puffs. I'm telling on myself, I don't care. And that's how I got through the nick fits, and that's what cleared my lungs out. My doctors right now, well, every doctor in the last probably 7, 8 years that have seen me has said something almost complimentary about my lung capacity for somebody who smoked all the years that I did prior to quitting. But that's the truth about what's happening with this vape thing. It's not THC, it's not jewel flavors, because this guy didn't have either one when it happened to me. His was just a regular vape. Okay, none of those flavors and no THC. And they've known this since March of 2014. In fact, I went to Jaime Raskin's office about it in 2016 or 17, whatever it was. I even have the emails from them back and forth about it back then when they did nothing. It wasn't until they figured out they could do some dollar sign collecting is when Jaime Raskin and his cronies decided to get on the bandwagon. Now he claims he's been against vaping from the beginning. Well then, why did you do nothing when I brought the information to you back then? Stop lying to the public. It's impeachable. Remember that. And I have the evidence to prove it. So stop lying and trying to make people think we didn't speak, because we spoke on several occasions, even in Silver Spring. Remember that? I do, because I have video of that, date and time stamped. Stop lying, Jaime Raskin. Stop lying. Get off of the, you may as well just get right off of the bandwagon. In fact, get off the committee, because you'll do more harm in the long run, because they'll find out that you knew about this. And I'll make sure of it just for you, because you're such a lying little jerk. That's why I call him Rat Raskin. Anyway, that's how long this vape situation has really been going on. So I suggest you all start getting real about this and getting honest about it on what it's really doing. I call it quick cancer because it almost killed me. And I was probably the first documented victim back then. Almost 5 years ago, something like that, 4 years ago, or 6, whatever. Anyway, yeah, so that's the real deal behind the vapes. So for what it's worth, this is Hated Haze bringing you the truth yet again. Have a good day, guys.